Dana White came out. He said the UFC will not be stripping Jon Jones. And good on that clarity. I'm not sure we needed it. I don't know that we had any indication that we were even starting to drift in that direction. But you do have to understand, getting a spot in the UFC is very similar to getting a reservation, if you will. You're going to go to a nice restaurant, you got to have a reservation, you hear there's a waiting line. I use that comparison because there are only so many spots. And when those spots fill up, there are now no other spots until spots open up. When you hold out, like Jon did, okay, fine. But those spots now get filled. Those reservations are taken. That phone is still ringing and people are still getting put at the seat. So you can still return to the restaurant. You're just going to have to wait a little bit until you do it. I think that a better comparison here might also be with what's going on with Conor McGregor. Dana White also said, I can assure you, Conor McGregor will not be fighting in 2020. Now, that's not a knock on Jon Jones or Conor McGregor. That comes back to the reservation analogy I just laid out. They get a whole bunch of dates in a whole bunch of different locations, and you move forward. You start taking reservations. So now if a guy decides he wants to try your restaurant, I changed my mind. Looks like that's what I want to do after all. No problem. You're welcome to come. Let's look at the calendar, though, and see when the next open is. That's really what this is. And I have to tell you, not stripping Jon Jones is very important. Jon is one of these guys where, who are you punishing in that case? I mean, there's been a number of times where people have wanted Jon Jones stripped. Whether a legal issue, something outside of the octagon, but they have wanted him stripped. In this case, he's done nothing illegal. But in this case, he's done nothing in the octagon. How long does he get to wait as champion, who, by the way, is perfectly healthy and who, by the way, has a number one contender in Dominic Reyes who would like the match? I don't quite know the answer to that question. But if you defer back to the reservation scenario, even if Jon comes to the table now, you can't just call Dom, your table is this way. There is no tables. For the amount of events that are currently scheduled, which is a lot, they plan way out, but for the amount of events, they have so many seats, and those seats are spoken for. So it's one of these cases, guys, please ask yourself that question. If you're on the anti-Jon Jones and nobody can beat him, but I don't want to see him happy. So let's just take what he loves, even though nobody can take it from him. Okay, but if you do that, who are you hurting? Does Jon somehow, for a temporary frustration or pain of not having the title, while not losing the title in a traditional way, is that really that big of a deal? And secondly, who do you give the title to? Nobody. So you bring in a couple of guys to go fight for the title, but those guys aren't going to have that same kind of shine if they don't beat Jon for the title. You see what I'm saying? It just becomes a little bit of a problem. And who is it do you think you're punishing? Then all of a sudden, Jon Jones comes back. Does he come right into a title match, the very title match against the very opponent, Dominic Reyes, who is doing anything he can to not have to fight? I would have to say that's unlikely. So then if he just comes back somewhere in the deck, that's a dangerous proposition. You could be the baddest dude in the world or the next baddest dude in the world. Jon Jones will send you to the hospital. Jon Jones is not to be played with. He does not have a nice style. You could call his style dynamic. You could call it beautiful. You could call it well-rounded. Never will you call it nice. Jon Jones is looking to hurt not only you, he's looking to hurt parts of you that you didn't even know were eligible to be hurt. Remember that fight he had with Glover? Fighting Glover Teixeira within 30 seconds, somehow he grabs Glover's arm in a standing position, locks his own hand, and just like twists. Glover had bicep damage from a move that isn't even a move that does not even have a name, just something Jon thought of. How many other fights has Jon walked across the ring as both guys are starting to kind of measure out, okay, where are you, where am I? Jon just double crosses you, kick you right in the mouth. I mean, Jon Jones don't call that style nice, and there's a real relevance to that. If you think that stripping Jon somehow punishes Jon, I need to hear a little bit more of your argument. If you think that somehow motivates him or boosts him or gives him a kick in the ass to let him know, haha, we're serious over here, well, there's no tables left. It's a similar thing to Conor McGregor. Conor Mania is a very real thing. It's very hard to deny that this sport is more fun with Conor in it. Is there anyone else you can say that about him? That's a big compliment. The sport is more fun. How can you call unarmed combat fun? It's interesting. It's compelling. Fun? Yeah, when Conor's around, things are fun. He's that guy. So let me pose a question to you all. Did retirement backfire? Did retirement backfire on Conor and Jon? None of us believe that it's sincere. Those athletes have led us to believe it's not sincere. When I'm talking about sincere, I'm talking about a guy who quit smoking until the next time he smokes, right? There's a big difference in quitting and stopping. I'm done, which is where retirement comes. Retirement, you're never going to do that again, as opposed to I'm on a break. So the reason I say it was insincere is Conor retired, didn't leave the USADA pool, and has called out a number of people since in 2 different sports. So I think we can look at that as insincere. Jon Jones never fully said I'm done. He, in fact, said I'm done for a year or 2. And anytime a guy says a year or 2, you're well aware that he himself has absolutely no plan. If he has no plan and he comes to the table, you can't begin negotiating with him as a partner, because now you have a partner who is openly telling you, I have no plan. I don't like your plan. My plan is I don't like your plan. Can I have it my way? No. But in the world of stripping Jon Jones and the fact that Jon is not going to be stripped, that's not only fair, right? I mean, don't forget, when this whole pandemic hit, Dana put a lot of things into place, a lot of things we'd never seen or heard of before for good reason. But he's been very consistent with one theme, which is, hey guys, just so you know, and this was even an internal email that went out to everybody but got posted on the internet. He's also said it at press conference after press conference, night after night. Nobody has to fight right now. If for any reason, none of which you need to share with me, right now, if you don't want to fight, that's it. No punishment, no repercussions. And that is very clearly extended, not just to the newer guys, not just to the body of work, all the way to the top. Jon Jones, Henry Cejudo, in all fairness, who I still consider a fighter, Conor McGregor, anybody in between, anybody right now, this was stated on day 1 by Dana. For any reason, you're not comfortable. Enough said. Don't even need to tell me. I get it. Things are a little different right now. Well, I think the fact that he's not stripping Jon, I think the fact that he can assure us that all the seats at all the tables are full when it comes to Conor, look, just a sincere guy, told you the truth on day 1, provided you with the evidence this morning.